Just recorded like 20 minutes of footage and then realized that the camera wasn't on. Yay! I'm going to commit murder. It's not a bird, it's not a plane, and it is not what I planned on talking about this week. But the universe had different plans for me, and those plans involve criticizing Superman. Okay, not Superman, like the person, but Superman's suit. Today, I'm going to be doing a costume comparison of Superman, Man of Steel, and Superman Legacy. For efficiency's sake, I'll be calling them Man of Steel, or 2013, and Legacy, or 2025, from here on out. I think both supersuits work for very different reasons, and so, as always, I'll be using my previous versus categories to score each film's version of the supersuit, to assess how successful the design of each suit is in the context of its film. Here's a little background for the films I'll be discussing. Man of Steel was released in 2013 and was directed by Zack Snyder. It stars Henry Cavill as Superman and is an origin story of the hero. The costume designer Michael Wilkinson also worked on movies like Sky High, Tron Legacy, and the Twilight Breaking Dawn films. Legacy was released earlier today in the year 2025 and was directed by James Gunn. It stars David Cornsweet as Superman 3 years into his career as a hero as he faces his toughest challenges yet. The costume designer was Judianna Makovsky, who also worked on films like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, The Hunger Games, and various Marvel projects. Alright, so we have our parameters, we have our films, so without further ado, let's compare. I'll start with color. In Man of Steel, the colors are very desaturated, and the same goes for the suit. The blue especially takes on a very gray, silvery tone, and the red is much darker than previous iterations of the suit. The little bit of yellow that we can see in the chest emblem and the belt buckle is a dull, bronzy color. Personally, I am a big fan of more saturation than less, but in this film it does work. The director and designer wanted this suit to be more grounded and grittier to match the rest of the film, and they succeeded. It was also their intention for the suit to take inspiration from chainmail, so duller metallics is a sensible choice. My only true issue with the colors here is the ratio. With the lack of emblem on the cape and the omission of the yellow belt and red trunks, a lot of the opportunity to balance the colors out is lost. If I was going to eyeball the percentage, I'd say this suit is like 70% blue, 25% red, 5% yellow. It makes no sense to cling to that little bit of yellow when you could have just gotten rid of it entirely and instead had a lovely 70-30 balance of blue and red. I'll give color for this film a 4 out of 5 since my only true issue is with the color ratios. In Legacy, color saturation is turned way up. There's a definite lean into the classic comic book coloring as can be seen throughout the film. The suit is made up of a slightly lighter blue than Superman is commonly seen in, with bright red and yellow accents. So basically, he's dressed like the primary trio in a fresh box of Crayola, and I'm living for it. The ratio of colors follows what I know as the 60-30-10 rule in art. If you're using 3 colors and want an impact, this is a good rule to follow. I like that the yellow is limited to the belt and the emblems, but it's still a clear element, and I think that the red trunks do a good job of breaking up the solid blue suit. No complaints, so I'll give color in Legacy a 5 out of 5. The next category is texture and materials. In Man of Steel, the director and designer wanted to rethink the suit's origins as a piece of Kryptonian underarmor. Medieval chainmail and armor has been referenced several times in interviews, and I think that it does really come through. The suit sports a 3D printed interlocking texture that mimics chainmail with raised foam and latex details down the sides that are painted with a smooth metallic sheen that sort of mimics elements of plate mail. The suit also sports some weirdly perfect muscle contour, and it seems to cling to the actor like a second skin. While I personally don't go for the whole airbrushed abs look, it does fit with the designer's vision, despite looking like a vacuum-packed bag of Hawaiian rolls. The suit is meant to look strange and unfamiliar. It's of alien origin and is meant to be gritty and real to match the tone of the film. So I'd say this worked, and I'll give it a 5 out of 5. The texture and materials in Legacy take a different approach. The director didn't want it to look like a wet t-shirt, so we don't see any airbrushed muscles on the suit, and it doesn't cling to the actor. In fact, it looks a little bulky at times, and this wouldn't be a huge issue, but I only noticed it happening on the top half of the suit and not on the legs. If there's one thing I will not stand for, it is inconsistency. Either tight all over or bulky all over, please. I did, however, enjoy the emblem being sewn in with the rest of the garment rather than just kind of like placed on top as we've seen in other iterations of the suit. So yay for that. But I do have one more issue, and that is with the texture on the blue fabric. It's got this sort of like neoprene yoga mat look to it that I don't think was necessary. If the designer thought that it was, then I would have preferred it to only be on the dark blue contours. I think that this sort of texture is often added to supersuits to imply to audiences that it's made of some like special super material, but if an audience can suspend their disbelief for the evening for a man that shoots lasers out of his eyes, then they can do it for the suit. Legacy will be getting a 3 out of 5 for texture and materials. Category number 3 is character. In Man of Steel, Superman feels a lot of unease and otherness because he knows he's different. He's also really repressed because his adoptive father told him to keep the alien side of him under wraps. This results in his character being very hollow and sort of an emotionless figure who's giving off lots of lonely, stoic, brooding vibes. But then he finds the suit, and it doesn't change much. The suit puts him in touch with his alien past, and it gives him an outlet for his need to help others, but it doesn't tell us a lot about who he is besides his Kryptonian origin. The suit is from Krypton. He's from Krypton. It's an okay reason, but it's not really strong, so this section will get a 3 out of 5. In Legacy, Superman's character is all about his relationships with other people. His human nature is a result of his upbringing and clashes with his immense power due to his alien origins. He likes people, he wants to be helpful, and he doesn't want to be intimidating. In this world, superheroes are old news, and it's Superman's time to put on a uniform and do his part. And he does wear his suit like a uniform, according to the director, since he sees it as his duty and his obligation to help people. But despite his mild-mannered Kansas charm, he is still an alien powerhouse, so the trunks have returned for the purpose of making him look a little silly. The director of this film, James Gunn, much like Zack Snyder, struggled with the decision of whether or not to reintroduce the trunks. Snyder ultimately didn't decide to, as he couldn't find a way to make them look cool. But it was actually the actor David Corenswet who made the point that maybe they aren't supposed to look cool. Maybe they're supposed to make Superman a little goofier and more approachable, especially to kids. Overall, I was very pleased with how the suit communicated character in this movie, so I will give it a 5 out of 5. And last, and certainly not least, especially in the geekdom of comic books, is research. The director and designer for Man of Steel both regularly reference the medieval period in interviews, saying that the chest emblems of Krypton took inspiration from medieval heraldry, and the suits worn under the plate armor are in place of chainmail. It makes sense, so good for them. The lack of trunks isn't unheard of in the comics, and the best example I found was in the New 52 run. Zack Snyder has said that he tried to work them in, but just couldn't in the end. The trunks were originally there in the comics to mimic the strong men and athletic performers of the time, so a modern take on Superman could feasibly take inspiration from more modern sportswear instead. The one thing that I think was executed poorly in Man of Steel so far as referencing the comics was the neckline. It has that classic trapezoidal shape that we see in traditional Superman comics, but I think that it was cut just a little too low. It should have been either on or just a little above the collarbone, and I think that having it that low and letting that much chest hair escape, it just makes it seem ill-fitting, so I'm going to give this section a 4 out of 5. The suit in Legacy is a mishmash of different comic references. The trunks, of course, go all the way back to the first Superman comics, as well as the primary trio color scheme. The high collar and contour lines are details we see introduced in the New 52 run, and I am a particular fan of a high collar on Superman, despite its newer origins. The yellow emblem on the cape is a lot like the one seen in the 2005 All-Star comics, and the style of S in the emblem is very similar to the black and red one that we see in Kingdom Come, with yellow taking the place of black. The sheer amount of different comic elements they pulled for this suit does seem a bit crowded and busy at times, but it's not that distracting. So overall, I think they did a good job of pulling from the comics to keep the suit's original charms while still providing the audience with something new. So I will give this section a 4 out of 5. And now that we've discussed and scored all our categories, let's tally up for the final score. Superman, Man of Steel scored a total of 16 out of 20 points, or 80%, and Superman Legacy scored a total of 17 out of 20 points, or 85%. It was a close competition, with Superman Legacy taking the lead by just 1 point and being crowned our winner. I have to applaud the efforts of Judianna Makovsky and James Gunn in making my favorite Superman suit yet, and I look forward to seeing future DC hero films from them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see me rant insufferably about my interests, or maybe make some stuff, be sure to check out my channel. If you want more than that, be sure to visit my TikTok and my Instagram, and if you would like some behind the scenes pics, you can join my Patreon. Have a great day, or night, or whenever you happen to be watching this, and bye! Why didn't I just start a blog? Why did I have to pick a medium where I have to talk? Let's be real, I'm more likely to get a better chair than I am to fix my posture. No trunks, because of course the world is just begging to see Henry Cavill's bulge. He could be just like a cold alien superhero person, you know? But he's not. He likes humans, he admires them, he admires how vulnerable they are and how they keep going through life, and that's the beauty in it, that he sees that and chooses to live that way. And it's just such a well, kind of beautiful concept to me, that like even that like you're born as a human, you don't have the choice to be, oh, I'm going to live as a human being, you just do it. But if you're an alien and you come from a different world, and you could be something else, something more powerful, but then you choose to be just a person who wants to help other people, that's great. And it helps that he's, you know, like 230 pounds of just prime Kansas beef. I was supposed to be talking about his suit. Anyway, I'm a professional above all else.